Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Best in Slot with yet another little Jurassic World 2 speculation video, because this is an idea I've had rolling around my head for the past few days and I really wanted to talk to you guys about it. This is speculation about something that hasn't been addressed at all in the build-up to Jurassic World 2 so far. I don't believe it was referenced in Jurassic World 1 either, and it got very brief mentions in Jurassic World 2 and Jurassic Park 2, I should say, and Jurassic Park 3. I am talking about the lysine contingency. So let's explain what that means first of all. Lysine is an amino acid that very few creatures can naturally produce. Most of us get it via eating a lysine-rich food. Humans manage to get their necessary quantity of lysine simply by eating the correct foods. The lysine contingency, as explained in the first book, and I believe briefly mentioned in one of the films, is the idea that they've taken away the ability of dinosaurs to produce this amino acid lysine, and therefore the only way the dinosaurs survive is by being fed lysine-rich food by their handlers. So that was kind of the fail-safe put into the film in case the dinosaurs ever got off the island. The idea was they wouldn't be able to get hold of the amino acid lysine because they couldn't produce it themselves, and they wouldn't be being fed the lysine-rich food that the handlers traditionally gave them, and therefore they would die eventually. Now this is faulty logic. This doesn't work at all, because the fact is we all survive with lysine-rich food as it is. And it was briefly brought up, I believe, in the second film that the dinosaurs were capable of surviving anyway just by feasting on lysine-rich food. So the lysine contingency was always a flawed plan. If a dinosaur comes back, right, let's say you eat a lot of chicken, that gets you a lot of lysine. If a dinosaur comes back and eats a bodybuilder, he's going to be stacked up on lysine. You know what I mean? It wasn't really an actual issue. It's just kind of something they put in, or Crichton I suppose put in, because he felt they needed a justification for why the dinosaurs couldn't escape, and that was the best they came up with. It's a terrible one. The lysine contingency is an awful plan that obviously doesn't work, because the dinosaurs just eat things with lysine in like all of us do. So the idea that denying them this amino acid would kill them and stop them rampaging around the natural world is faulty. That brings me to my next point, because I believe there has to be a failsafe. Now it hasn't really been an issue in Jurassic Park 1 or Jurassic Park 3 or Jurassic World. It would have been an issue in Jurassic Park 2, but let's be honest, the only dinosaur that got onto the mainland was the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Tyrannosaurus Rex baby. We did see pteranodons escape at the end of Jurassic Park 3, but let's assume they just came back to the island or went to one of the other islands. Jurassic World 2 is going to be the first film where dinosaurs are widespread around the entire planet. It has never happened in the history of the Jurassic Park franchise, and we're very much assuming that's kind of the direction they're going in. Maybe they're still going to be in parks, maybe they're still going to be contained, but it isn't going to be a park on an island. And outside of that ending scene in Jurassic Park 2, we haven't had anything like that. So whilst the lysine contingency's failures haven't been an issue, now they are, because they need a failsafe. They need a way to control these creatures. And I'm going to hedge my bets and suggest that the reason these animals are suddenly going to become out of control in Jurassic World 2 is potentially one of two ideas for me. It's either going to sort of kick off and start because of a animal rights group like PETA for dinosaurs, who decide, just like they do with monkeys who are being tested on, etc, they're going to go in, they're going to break out some creatures. It'll end terribly for the people in the PETA group, they'll die, but that's what they'll do. Similarly though, maybe whatever failsafe they come up with, and again this is something that is referenced much more in the books, it's really rarely touched upon in the film, but maybe whatever failsafe they come up with fails, maybe it doesn't work. So the instant that these dinosaurs break out, they're thinking, oh, it's not that big a deal, until they realise their failsafe is actually faulty. Similarly, the failsafe could be an issue morally with these dinosaur rights activists. Now, oddly enough, the best way to reference this is to talk about Jurassic Park the game, the much maligned Telltale game that I thought was okay, but yeah, it was okay at best. Anyways, there's actually a whole scene in the Telltale Jurassic Park game, quite a big moral quandary about lysine, and the idea is one of the doctors, one of the main characters in the game, wants to put lysine into the water supply for this herd of parasaurs, because she doesn't want to leave the island and then to just naturally die. And it's a whole big moral thing about whether they should be sustaining this life and blah blah, isn't it dangerous, dinosaurs are unnatural, blah 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 blah. But it becomes a big moral factor. So the fact that already exists within Jurassic Park franchise canon is quite interesting. I really think that's going to be a big hot topic in Jurassic World 2, and it's something that isn't really being touched upon quite yet. I don't think anyone's really referencing it. You got to think, let's say you work for PETA and you realise that people are breeding dogs that have a kill switch built into them, that you just have to activate a certain genome or whatever and it kills the animal. That is going to cause an absolute uproar. But you need something like that for dinosaurs. You need something, if you're going to put these dangerous carnivorous and herbivorous dinosaurs all over the planet, you need something to control them. Now, what that could be is very much up for discussion. It won't be a lysine contingency. Maybe it could be something similar in that you deprive them of something they can't easily get from a regular diet. They can't easily get if they break out and started to kill everyone. You deny them something fundamental that isn't easily attainable via other methods, and then you feed them the diet that supplies that when you want them to stay alive, basically. So like the lysine contingency, but if the lysine contingency actually worked and wasn't done by idiots, is what I'm trying to get at here. But similarly, if you look at Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, the way you control your dinosaurs by the end of the game, if you do all of your research, is you get a kill gene. Now, I don't know how you would randomly activate the gene within a rampaging escaped dinosaur, but the idea of a kill gene is in a certain genome that once it's activated within the creature would then kill it, basically, is quite interesting. I think if I had to put money on it, that's going to be the direction they go in. I don't see any other way of producing all these dinosaurs and having this mass market for dinosaurs, potentially anyway, without having a built-in kill switch of some description. Will it be the return of the lysine contingency? Will there be a specific weaponry designed to take down these dinosaurs? I don't know. But they have to do something like that. And I think if they don't, it'll be quite a big plot hole in the second film. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't come up. So, what I'm curious about from you lovely folks at home is let's say you are put in charge of InGen, right? You are producing these dinosaurs, or you're in charge of a new dinosaur startup in Silicon Valley, because that's probably going to be a thing eventually. What would you do? How would you control these potentially rampage? Let's say you've got a T-Rex, you know, you're showing it off, blah, 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 but it breaks out. How do you stop that T-Rex? Let's assume you can't just shoot it with a regular gun, right? Let's assume that's not how it's going to work. Let's assume you have to build something within the basic DNA and foundation of the creature that lets you control it. How do you do it? Let me know in the comments. Do you think I'm onto something here? I had this idea like last night or the other night in bed. I was just lying there like 3 in the morning thinking, wait a goddamn minute, the lysine contingency, how are they going to control the dinosaurs? I want to talk to you guys about it. I'm really curious as to what you guys think about it as well. Let me know in the comments down below. Cheers, much love, as always. Bye-bye.